This is the Joghaz reservoir in Berkaber, one of several border villages in Armenia's northeastern Tavush region that have been impacted by a landmark border delimitation deal. Right across the reservoir is Azerbaijan's northwestern Gazakh district. Earlier this summer, Azerbaijani forces withdrew from one position nearby, marking one of the few known times that Azerbaijan has pulled back from a position it had taken. CivilNet is here in Berkaber to find out more. Manya Martirosyan looks out over the reservoir every day as she tends to her garden, where she grows corn, persimmons, pumpkins, squash, and dozens of other fruits and vegetables. The word Berkaber, after all, means bearer of the harvest, and the area is renowned across Armenia for the quality of its fresh produce. Manya's home is one of the closest in the village to the reservoir, which was built in Soviet times and now forms part of the border between Armenia and Azerbaijan.
From this angle, you can see everything clearly. The Azerbaijani positions are on those foothills there, on the other side of the reservoir.
In April, Armenia and Azerbaijan reached a first-of-its-kind agreement to delimit or legally define a part of their border. That mostly involved Armenia ceding territory to Azerbaijan, an imbalance that sparked extensive criticism of Prime Minister Nikol Pashinyan and prompted weeks of heated protests across the country. But here in Berkaber, Armenian soldiers retreated by about 100 meters, while Azerbaijani troops withdrew by some 600 meters. That is one of the only known times in the course of the more than 30-year conflict that Azerbaijan has voluntarily fallen back from its positions. But according to Manya, Berkaber has not seen violent tensions for nearly a decade, and so delimitation has not had either a positive or negative impact on residents' lives.
Since delimitation, nothing has changed. Nothing. Everything was already very calm. This area has been calm since 2016. There have been no shootings, no trouble. What happens on their side stays on their side. We don't bother them, and they don't bother us.
But for Misha Khudaverdian, who tends a 2-hectare orchard perched right along the shore of the reservoir, the delimitation agreement has provided fresh hope for a more prosperous future.
In all cases, people need hope and faith to live. Once delimitation is over, we'll finally have our lands back.
For Misha, the question of land is not just political, it's personal. Aside from his apple, cornelian, cherry, hazelnut, pear, persimmon, and walnut trees on this side of the reservoir, Misha also worked a plot of grapes on the mountainside across the water, which was part of Armenia in Soviet times but fell to Azerbaijan after the Union collapsed in the early 1990s.
The most important thing is that today we are at the border, and for several years now there have been absolutely no shootings here. That is the most important thing. If there is peace, everything is possible.
While Manya and Misha looked after their crops, Edgar Kocharyan and his father, Robert, were hard at work building a new house. They grew up here in Berkaber, but life took them far afield, with Edgar moving to Yerevan, while Robert spent the past decade traveling back and forth to Russia. But that all changed earlier this year, when the Armenian government launched a program subsidizing the cost of building new homes for families who want to relocate permanently to border villages. Each family whose application is approved is eligible for up to $55,000 in support. For the Kocharyans, who told CivilNet they always wanted to move back to Berkaber, the housing program is now making their dreams a reality.
Now the village is developing. The authorities are repaving the roads and installing new gas and water lines, and the villagers are planting new gardens.
And the Kocharyans are not alone. The housing program appears to be a resounding success here in Berkaber, where 57 new homes are currently under construction, all in a village of around just 500 people.
The situation on the border here is very good, very calm. We expect there to be no shootings, none at all. All we want is peace, so that more people come here and the village develops. I'm building this house so my family has a place to call their own.
CivilNet also spoke with Berkaber Mayor Tigran Harutyunyan, who confirmed Armenian and Azerbaijani forces withdrew from some of their positions near the village earlier this summer, but otherwise would not provide additional details, speak on the record, or appear on camera. For its part, the Armenian government has not indicated publicly when it expects any further delimitation to take place.